Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again with a brand new video. Uh, but today we're here to talk about something that can be very difficult for people to get through statistics. And I want to talk about the different parts of statistics. I want to talk about dishonest statistics. And I want to talk about people who use statistics to pass BS messages and how they lie to you while they're using statistics. And I want people to judge for themselves exactly what is the truest form of statistics, and really the only way to do that is to go through them. But we're going to do this in the most simple way possible, and hopefully that message will get through. But before we hop into that, I just want to say there's going to be some changes to the channel. I know I've been talking about this for some time. Today is the day for the webcam or for on video. Later on this week or next will be the day that you start to hear the audio quality of my voice will go up, and you'll probably start to see more vlogs and other basic stuff out of me, just on a daily basis, because I don't want to have to do like really in-depth, really hard-hitting videos every single day. It's a lot of fun, but it can also be a lot of work, and it ends up sucking up a lot of the day. And also, I'd like to share my life and get to know you all. All right, with that said, we're going to go ahead and hop into the first part of this.
Hey guys, so I'm coming on here because I want to go over some of the crime statistics. I get quite a bit of comments from people, white trolls mostly, that are spewing out, Black people have the highest percentage of crime, and they commit most of the violence crime. By nature, they're very violent. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit in this video, and I did this already in the past, and gave the links to it. But right now, in this video, I'm actually going to show you what I'm referring to. Before I do that, I want to give you a little bit of context on statistics. Anyone who understands statistics, which you just have to have a basic working knowledge of it, will know that the only way you're going to get accuracy when dealing with statistics is, number one, if you have equal population sizes, okay?
Now, here's the thing. She's starting this video off with a lie. Now, that's only partially true, but in order for it to be true, you have to look at statistics only from a particular point of view. But the reality is that there are many ways to measure statistics. So, of the ways that there are to measure statistics, you can look at total percentages. That's, 50% of this, of the total number of this, and 20% of the total number of that, or whatever. Then you can look at total numbers. Now, these statistics are the same, they're just being displayed in two different ways. Then you've got the per capita statistics. This is per thousand people or per 100,000 people. When it's measured United States wide, it's generally measured per 100,000 people. Now, because the two populations, the black population and the white population, are two completely different sized populations, it can be kind of hard to extrapolate data that is meaningful to the average person. And this is where every single person who argues about statistics gets tripped up.
Now, we know in America, the majority of the population is white. So therefore, when you're comparing white crime to black crime, you're not really going to get accuracy if you do it by statistics. You're going to get a smokescreen, basically.
Now, this is where I have a really hard time with what Cynthia G has to say. She starts off by saying a lie, and then she hops into this bit about because the two populations are different, then you can't get accurate statistics. That's not true. The statistics themselves, they're accurate, but when you look at the totals, the actual numbers in the end, what you see is sort of this weird, almost uncorrelating number that just doesn't make any sense. And you ask yourself, why is that? Well, it's simple. Of all of the people in the U.S., when you look at just the white crime and just the black crime, what you see is that the white crime, they there's more of it total. Meaning, if you look at the amount of white people that are committing crimes, there are more of them than there are black. But when you look at the two populations up next to each other, what you see is that a greater percentage of the black population is committing crimes.
Because it's the equivalent of this, and this is to show you exactly how it is. Say that you have 100 oranges and 50 of them are rotten. Okay, so you have a population of 100 oranges, 50 of them is rotten. Then you take a population of 160. You can have 160 apples, and 60 of those apples are rotten. Although with the apples you have a higher number of rotten apples, you're going to have a lower percentage than the oranges, okay? Because that's simply how statistics work.
Now, this one statistic is actually true, or the way that she's phrasing this is actually true. What she's about to do is use that statistic to sort of spoon feed you information that isn't necessarily true. And that's a big part of the problem with dishonest statistics and how they can be used. What I want to do here is I want to just give you the information, and I want you to sort of decide for yourself exactly what perspective is the most important, because that's what it comes down to here, is you have to decide which perspective you want to take and how exactly you want to look at the information to decide which parts of the information are most important to you.
Unless you compare equal population sizes, you're not going to have accuracy. So when you see all these comments and you see these white people saying, oh, black people have a higher percentage of crime, they're literally giving you a smokescreen. That's what they're doing. They're providing a smokescreen using percentages. Excuse me. Notice you never hear them say Black people commit more crimes. You actually might hear some people say Black people commit more crimes. You will see trolls doing it, but you really won't see this being said over the news because this simply isn't true. So what I'm going to do is, because I notice a lot of white people, they like to reference the FBI crime statistics. They'll only go to the percentage part because, again, percentages is only going to be accuracy, and it's only going to paint an accurate picture if you're comparing equal population sizes. We already know that's not the case in America. It's impossible to do that. So with percentages, you're never going to have accuracy. You're not going to get an idea of who's actually doing the most. The only way you're going to do that is to compare the raw numbers.
Actually, it's not a smokescreen. There's a reason that the FBI parses out this information in like 5 different ways. And the reason is so that you can look at the entire picture and decide based on that information what point of view is most important. So, there's a couple of ways to look at this. You can either look at the total number of crimes and base your opinion off of that, or you can look at the percentages and look at it from a cultural point of view. Now, when white people are talking about the percentages, what they're talking about is the culture, okay, not total crimes. So, when it comes to total crimes, white people are committing more crimes, flat out. However, when you're talking about culture, and because our population is like 6 times greater than that of the black population, it's important to look at it from both points of view. So, when you look at the black population, you can see that a greater percentage of the black population is committing crimes, and a huge percentage of those are repeat offenders. These are people who have failed to be rehabilitated, have failed to learn their lesson, have failed to move on to bigger and better things, have not sought pushing themselves in real meaningful ways that will advance their lives in any way that will benefit society as a whole. So that said, to us, the way we look at this is about culture. Okay? Now, this is going to be a little harsh, okay? But when you look at black culture as a whole inside of the United States, what you can see is that the era of slavery and the era of segregation completely, utterly destroyed your guys' culture. It did. It damaged it badly. and that's horrible. It's genuinely freaking horrible, to just see how much devastation and damage has been done, even flat out to your guys' culture. And that is the root of the issue here, that when white people are talking about this, that they're trying to get to. Your guys' culture, in many ways, glorifies violence. It glorifies. Now, we're not talking about any old violence. We're not talking about glorifying justifiable violence. We're talking about get money, fuck hoes, and push drugs. That's what your guys' culture glorifies. Not all of your culture, not the vast majority of your culture, but basically all of your pop culture. And it's what your youth is focused on. Now, we can get into an argument all day long about mass shootings and stuff like that, but they really, 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 really represent a tiny, tiny percentage of the crime. If we're going to look at that, let's also look at the percentage of armed robberies, homicide, black on black homicide, unjustifiable homicide. And when you look at those statistics together, when you look at the pop culture that the black community has taken on in a bigger, larger portion of its percentage, you can start to see a correlation. And maybe this is from an outside the looking glass thing, or from outside the fishbowl thing, that maybe white people are more conscious of this, and maybe black culture isn't, but it's something that's very plain as day to us, and it's most of my friends who are, I hate to use the phrase, but most of my friends who are black, they don't understand why your guys' culture glorifies it to the extent that they do, because it just doesn't help anything. I mean, I know black guys who own businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses. They've pushed their way up out of whatever may be their circumstances, and are now living good lives, good, honest lives. They didn't have to find their way onto the football or basketball court. They didn't have to find their way into a recording studio in order to better their lives. They went to college. They got educated. And there's tons of black people doing this, of course, but we're not talking about that percentage. We're talking about the population of whites who are committing crimes, and the population of blacks who are committing crimes. These aren't the college-bound types. These aren't the types who are presently engaged in bettering themselves. And that's really, really what I want to point out here is you really have to look at the perspective here. All right? And that's where we're coming from when we make that statement. So this is why I really feel that Cynthia G uses dishonest tactics when she's talking about statistics, and even when she's trying to make her claims.
Which anyone in statistics who have a basic working knowledge of statistics, anyone will tell you that you can't, that's not accurate. You need to, when you have unequal population sizes, you need to go by the raw numbers. They're not doing this for a reason. So I want you guys to look at the, so we're going to look first at the FBI crime statistics. We're going to look at that. And I'm going to show you guys something, because this is a thing that a lot of white people like to reference. Now, if you notice, you will see that this is the FBI crime statistics website. It'll give you a breakdown and a table of the arrests for these crimes. Now, mind you, it says 2013. The FBI crime reports doesn't go by a yearly report. They go by a period. So it'll either be from 2010 to 2013, 2013 to 2016. Not saying that that's how it is, but it goes by a period. It's not going to go by every single year. So the most recent one was for the period of 2013. But so let's look at this now. If we look at total crime, because white people like to tell you black people commit more crimes. So these are going by the arrest for these crimes. Now, you know, the FBI statistics isn't going to show you convictions because court trials, they take a very long time. You know, you can get plea deals, a number of things that can happen that can, you know, change the outcome of it. So they're going by arrest for it. But so look, if we go by here, we go by the total charge offenses. So if you go by overall total arrest for crime, if you go by white, you have 6,204,197. With the black people, you have 2,549,655. So that right there is already telling you in overall crimes, white people, keep in mind, all white people aren't committing crimes. So they're a percentage of the white population that are actually committing these crimes. That's what they won't say. That's what they fail to tell you when they're going over these crimes. They'll say, oh, black people have more crimes than white people. Now, if you break it down to raw numbers, then you get accuracy. So, because with this, you see, according to the FBI crime database, you see that white people are actually being arrested for far more crimes. Now, they'll profile black people, but really they should be profiling white people because they are the ones, if they were actually going by who's committing the most crimes, they would be going in accordance to the FBI crime table. They will be doing it by white because they're committing over 4 million crimes more than black people are, by and large. Okay.
Tisk tisk, Cynthia. I just caught you lying. She claims that we're committing 4 times more crimes. Actually, if you look at crimes committed just by whites and just by blacks, you can do some simple math shown on screen here for your convenience. That we're actually only committing 2.43 times more crimes than that of the black community. Now, here's where I want to bring the whole situation into focus, okay? Now, if you take into account just the people who are white, lily white like me, German, Irish, Scottish, or any mix of thereof, you will see a population of just under 198 million. Okay? And if you take into account just blacks alone, this is not taking into account anybody who's mixed race, anything, just the 2 races alone, completely separate, those who are not mixed. Okay? You will see that their population is just a little over 45.5 million. Now, our population is 4.33 times larger than theirs, and we're only committing 2.43 times more crimes. Okay? That's what we're talking about. That if this doesn't bring it into focus for people, because I'm breaking this down retard status for you. I'm breaking this down Barney style for you. It's as simple as this. Our population is more than 4 times greater than yours. So you would think that if we were more violent, we would be committing at least 4 times more crimes than you guys are. Yet, by your own statistics, you can see that we're only committing 2.43 times more crimes than you are. And this is why when white people talk about black crime or black crime in America, we talk about percentages because the raw data doesn't give you an accurate anything. And most people can't follow it. I bet you 90% of the people that watch this video don't even make it to this point. They don't even make it far enough to develop an opinion about this, most of them. If I'm wrong, comment and let me know that you made it this far. But I bet you most of you didn't.
Now look at robbery. Then you have robbery. And here's another one which is understandable. Robbery is a crime committed by economics. So that's kind of understandable. Obviously, you have black people, they're the poorest population, they're going to have a higher robbery. Obviously, anyone can look up and find out robbery is really a crime. I mean, you can go into a store and steal some cigarillos and run and leave and the cop catch you, that's considered robbery.
So just to drive the point home a little harder, I want to point out that even though we are only committing 2.43 times more crime than the black population, we represent 77.4% of the entire population of the whole country, while you are committing to what, 30% is 30% of the entire crime in the United States, and you only represent 12.6% of the population. Think about that. That's not right. There's something wrong going on there. You know, there's something deeply wrong going on within Black American culture that this is taking place. And you know what? Despite the fact that I don't want to throw around any blame, because people like Cynthia G are out there throwing around blame, I feel like I have to address it. Now, on to the economics portion of this, right? When white people do it, they're psychopaths, they're insane, there's something wrong with us, we're sociopaths. But the second that a black person is committing more total crimes in one category than whites, instantly it's a crime of economics. You know, that's such an agency removing pile of crap, Cynthia. You freaking responsibility erasing enabler. I mean, how pathetic. You know, that's pathetic. And when you look at this whole thing, you got to wonder what is going on in the head of a person like that they think that that's okay. You know, when I look at this whole situation, I got to wonder to myself, what in the hell is going on to this country? What in the hell are you people doing to the America that I love, the America that I fought for, the America that I've suffered for, and you guys are doing this shit, spreading these kind of bullshit lies? Wouldn't it just be easier to just clean up your neighborhoods? Wouldn't it just be easier to teach your kids how to act right? Wouldn't it just be easier to push your kids to go to school instead of to try to shoot for a ridiculous fantasy of being a football player or a basketball player or a rapper? When such a small percentage of people make it in those categories. And then she goes on to try to define robbery as anybody who busts into a liquor store, snatches some cigarillos, and leaves. But the actual definition of it, that's actually that's not what a robbery is. That's petty theft, shoplifting. All right. In order for it to become a robbery, there has to be a victim, and that victim has to suffer injury or violence. Do you understand what the difference is between somebody walks into a store and they pocket something that doesn't belong to them, and somebody walks into a store, beats up the cashier, steals what's behind the counter, and then dips?
And this is where I gotta cut it off, because frankly the video is getting too long. Sorry guys, you know I try to keep it down to under 20 minutes normally, but there was even a lot more in this video that I didn't address, and I just don't have the energy for it today. I don't. And I doubt you want to go on watching a 40 minute to an hour and a half long video. But all that said, I just want to say it's easy. It's easy for me to surmise that the rest of the video is she goes through and tries to use some dishonest statistics about what race commits crime against other races, and I can disprove that with the same methods that I disprove this. But that said, I just wanted to say sorry for the ugly mug. And sorry for the mess in the background. We're still in the process of moving and setting up the new office/studio. So it'll be maybe a week, maybe at most 2, before it's really cleaned up and decorated in here, and then it'll start to look right. That said, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button. Please remember to subscribe. It helps. Share videos. Let me know what you think. If you hated it, don't be a coward. Let me know why. Talk in the comments section. Be respectful, and I will talk back to you. I try to respond to every comment I get on all videos that I have. At some point, that'll become untenable, but for the meantime, I do my best. And anyway, see you in the next video. Have a good one.